Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the Legacy Den. I am your co-host Mason, and with me, as always, is your other co-host Rob. How's it going, Rob?
I'm doing good. Are you feeling better from your cold?
Yeah, I'm feeling better. Although the wife is still sick, the kids have been acting crazy. They would not go to bed last night, and because of that, I'm a little sleep deprived. But we'll see if we can get through and give some premium content out for y'all.
Speaking of things that are premium, what are you drinking tonight?
Water. I need to.
This is
not fall
Mexico,
asleep.
so we have premium water here.
We have premium water. Yeah, if I have a beer, I will probably fall asleep mid-podcast. I'm not going to lie.
Well, I'm drinking a Corona Extra. I went to Costco earlier this week, and they had a case of Corona on sale for about 40% off, so I carried it home. And my prize for carrying home a big box of Corona, about half a mile walk, is I get a box of Corona. It's pretty great.
That's the old drink a beer game. You know what you win when you drink a beer?
You win a beer.
Another beer.
We'll see if I win another beer tonight.
All right then. Let's go ahead and get things off. So there are a couple of different things that we wanted to talk about. We wanted to talk about some finance stuff. We wanted to talk about Modern Horizons. I kind of wanted to talk about the legacy, meta and what's happening as well. But let's go ahead and let's talk about finance because
we always start with finance.
Yeah,
we always start with finance.
You have a story you want to talk about. I have some things that I absolutely want to talk about. I'm looking at a long list of them right now. So why don't you go ahead and tell us what happened to you the other week?
So as you know, I go shopping in Den Town a lot in Osaka, and there's this one store that's it used to be owned by a local player, and then he left the store. So the other guys who ran the store, like the Yu-Gi-Oh part and the Pokemon cards part, they didn't know what to do with their Magic stuff. So I'd go there every once in a while because they sometimes had good deals. And I go in there, and there's a sign that says, "Here's all our Magic storage. Any card, no matter what price, is 5 yen," which is like 5 cents. So I'm looking at these cards. There's, 300 yen price tags on some, 100 yen price tags, nothing on others. I'm like, really? Like 5 cents? So I can get 20 cards that are potentially like $5 each for 100 yen. And the guy's like, yeah, like we don't know what to do with this stuff. Like if you're coming here, you obviously know that this place exists and you come here for Magic. We didn't announce this sale, so it would be only for people who are just like coming into the store. So I went there and they have all their storage sorted by color and type. So they had all like the blue creatures and the blue instants, blue sorceries and all that stuff. And they had a bunch of standard stuff, standard rares, uncommons, and it was some of the most fun I've ever had. I spent about 3 hours there. My buddy Clinton, shout out to Clinton, came in about an hour through me going through stuff. I was like, dude, you got to come over here and check this out. Like, this is the craziest sale. He got like a stack of 100 cards that are good. It was like $5, stuff like that. I got pretty much this entire box of just stuff here, and it was only about 4,500 yen, about $45. And I guess I'll name off some of the notables. I got 4 English copies of Propaganda, about 8 Japanese copies. I got a few Alkahalmer's. You know that card, right? It's
Alkahalmers.
It's the Origins Mythic. It's an artifact. I have the name right here.
Origins Mythic. That's something that we should.
Alhamerit's Archive. I got 3 of them, and they're like a $15, $20 card. I got a few Static Orbs from Tempest, which are now a little maybe pricey. A few Mirage Mirrors, a bunch of Tormod's Crypts, even FBB ones. I've got a ton of blue stuff. I got some coat of arms. I got Sunforger. Yeah.
Get him.
Time Sieve. Just a lot of really, really good lands. I got a bunch of the pain lands, like the Caves of Kolios and Sulphurous Springs and Underground Rivers. They had FBB basics, so foreign black bordered basics. So I bought every single one of them for 5 yen each. Like,
those are a good find.
It's just everything was a good find. And even if it's something that's just bulk, even bulk at 5 yen each is still really good, you know? So even, no matter what I buy, I can't lose. The only thing is I couldn't carry his entire storage home with me. My wife would kill me, first off. Second off, you know, it's just too much. And there was a lot of actual useless garbage there. But I picked through and just got everything that was worth anything.
Well, that sounds like that would have been... I would have been in heaven with doing that, because you know me, I love picking through boxes. I'll pick through them all day long.
You'll pick through bad boxes to find like the 3 gems in there and be like, yes, this is just like, because everything is so cheap, finding a card that's like, oh, this is like a solid $1 card is great for 5 yen. So that's pretty much it. It was pretty much heaven, and I don't think that's ever going to happen again. The guy who works at that store, who kind of knows the Magic stuff, he just says he's not good enough to know everything. He plays Legacy a little. He plays like Omni Show, but he's like, I can't do the Kaitori the way the other guy can. I can't just say like, oh, this is this much, like the other guy could. He's like, so it's easier just to get out of Magic and increase the amount of space for the other games. But it was a blast. I really enjoyed it.
Because you had told me the story about the guy who we know, we've seen on camera a couple of times. We've seen him in tournaments and stuff like that. That knows Magic and was working at that store, and that was the reason why he kind of stopped working at that store, is because he didn't feel like he was up to the snuff of kind of.
That guy left the store already.
Oh.
The other guy, who's kind of like a newish player, but he still plays and knows how to play, he's still there, but nobody who's like really, really good with the finance stuff with Magic is there. Like, you could show him a bunch of cards from, like, let's say Tempest and Urza Saga, and he probably wouldn't know which ones are $10 and which ones are 10 cents. You know? And that's the kind of thing.
I mean, foreshadowing what I want to talk about later. Like,
sorry,
nowadays,
I brought up
like
Tempest.
those prices are all over the board right now. Like, I don't even know what those prices are anymore.
I guess we'll segue into Tempest.
Well, like, I'll hold off on that just for a sec. But yeah, so I thought that maybe the guy that we know that worked there, he had taken off just for some reason. He was just not going to work there anymore. I can understand that, like. As far as you and I are concerned, you and I are pretty knowledgeable about the price of cards, just flipping through them, and we could like name a price on stuff that we would probably be willing to pay. It might be a little bit below what somebody would be hoping to make on a card if they were trying to sell us, but it would still be, within range of something that would be reasonable that somebody would get on a Kaitori. Whereas
I generally have an idea about Japan prices, generally. Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, you probably have a really good idea, going out to the shops and stuff like that. I pay attention to online prices, and for the most part, I'm looking, for just stuff to arbitrage, and flip in the United States. But like most standard cards and stuff like that, like you and I don't pay that close attention to stuff. Like we'll never pass up like a card that's like $15-$20, but something that's like a $2 card or a $5 card.
Well,
like
I do play a lot of Arena, so I know what cards C play and what cards C absolutely no play. So
sure, but like, do you know the prices of those cards?
I would actually have to say no, not super. I know what's a $5 card, and I know what's a 15. I know what's a $20 card. I know what's bulk, but I don't know like, oh, is this $2 or $4? I don't know. Is it 6 or 8 or 9? Because everything changes so much, anyways, depending on the week. I could go and I'm like, oh yeah, Kaya, the Planeswalker, the 3-mana one. Yeah, last I checked, she was $12, and now she's up to 15 or something, or now she's down to 8. That kind of stuff happens all the time. So,
Yeah, knowing that stuff off the top of your head and being able to like just quickly pull it up and know price changes that have been happening like is a skill. And I definitely like know that that's something that like if you spend all of your time thinking about, yeah, you could probably like hone it down. But like I don't know if I would be able to like just take a box of cards and just give somebody a a blanket price on the entire box. But anyway, let's go ahead and segue into something that I want to talk about because there are a whole crapload of cards that have just been kind of going nuts as far as price is concerned. And I've just been like, feeling like there's some money to be made somewhere. Like I've looked in my own, LGS and stuff like that. There's still some cards that are available in the case, and now I'm looking at prices, and I may have to go run back over there and go snag some.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt just for a second. So for those who don't know about Japan stores, Japan doesn't do what American stores do and use TCG pricing. Japan just has their prices set. So if something spikes overnight, you can go to a store in the morning, probably get it for pre-spike price. If it spikes, like, say tomorrow it's Wednesday. If something spikes Wednesday during the day, I could probably go Wednesday after work to the stores and still grab it for pre-spike prices. Just because the spikes hit Japan a couple days late. So,
yeah.
Just...
Well, I mean, sometimes it's a couple of weeks, and especially like within the instance of what's been happening lately, like almost everything has been fluctuating in price, and it's really, really hard for, if they're like a couple of days late and that's just for something that's like one or two things that have spiked, and then they have to check up on it, and then they have to adjust their prices. If there's like 15, 20, 50 things that have all changed, suddenly that becomes a lot harder to do. And I also think that like in Japan with the card shops, we almost always see cards that are like have a marked price on them. There's a price tag on them.
Almost always.
I think that has to do with laws, the way shopping works in Japan. I think that they are by law supposed to put a price on there, which gives us the advantage of being able to.
We very much have the advantage of being able to buy stuff at pre-spike prices.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like Flusterstorms. Right when Flusterstorm, I woke up in the morning, I looked, Flusterstorm's in Modern. Let me go to the stores and buy 15, 20 copies of Flusterstorm. And then after I buy them each for $20, suddenly they're $35, $40. And then, just sell most of the copies for, 150% profit and use that to buy more cards.
Yeah.
Like...
I think that one of the things that my LGS has been having a problem with is that remarking the cards, retagging them and stuff like that, it takes time, and there's only one guy that goes around and does it. And he's got several walls of cards that he has to go through and retag with a pricing gun. And because he has to retag them, it's just too much work. He can't do it every time.
Exactly.
And so that gives me the advantage.
Some stuff slips through the cracks.
Yep. All right. So I actually wanted to pick your brain because I'm absolutely floored at some of these prices that have just been going around now. And you picked up on the fact that I was going to ask you about Teferi's puzzle box. What is Teferi's puzzle box priced at right now?
Okay, well, I'm gonna use my train of thought. Okay. So I used to pick up Teferi's puzzle boxes for $2, $3 in the storage box, sell them at Card Kingdom for about $6 or $7. So they were about $8, $9, sometimes $10-ish. Mm-hmm. Maybe if they increased in price, they might be $13 for a puzzle box. They went up for a bit because of Leovold as a commander, and then they went down once he got banned. Maybe because Narset's available, they went up a little, is my guess. But I'm gonna say $14 for a puzzle box.
That's what you're gonna bet. Okay.
So give me an edition though. I think it's gonna change. I think the 9th edition's probably worth more because it's just more rare, and then maybe Visions after that.
Okay. So one of the commanders that originally made Teferi's puzzle box spike was Nekazar. Every time somebody drew a card that did one damage to them. That was the original.
I have that in my Nekazar deck, yeah.
Yeah. Currently on Big Magic, because I've been looking at Big Magic right now, the prices for Teferi's puzzle boxes, they only have 8th edition in stock, and they have 7th edition in stock. They have Near Mint 8th edition for 1,800 yen, and they have Played 7th edition for 1,500 yen. I'm going to give you a hint and say that the American prices are a bit more than that. Would you like to try again?
I'm going to check Haruya's prices in Osaka. So the Haruya Osaka prices have all of them sold out at 3,500 yen each. So I'm going to go on a whim and say it's worth $35.
The Visions Teferi puzzle box right now on MTG Stocks is $35.35.
Which is absolutely ridiculous. Do I have any in my box?
Yeah, this is where you need to dig them up. Let's see. 6th edition is $45.
Whew. Oh, I've got this one, which is another language, but hey, it's better than nothing. I definitely got that for $1.
Anyway, yes, Teferi's puzzle box is insane, and I have no idea if it has to do with the Narset or something else, but that card is now 100% crazy expensive, and it's funny because a lot of people are like talking about like this price cannot hold. Like, there's no way in hell this is a $45 card. Like,
I thought about that with the Mycosynth, and then I realized that it does hold, and I was completely wrong. So just never trust myself again.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, if you want a Near Mint copy, they have one in stock, 8th edition, for 1,800 yen at Big Magic.
That's
all right.
An exciting price.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. Let's go for another one. How much is Tempest Sapphire Medallion worth right now?
$20.
No, more.
I have no idea. Is it because of middle school?
It might be. $30.
$30. Dang. That's a lot.
It's insane.
Pretty sure I have 4. Pretty sure.
Let's see. Bridge from Below is kind of crazy going up now. Static Orb as well.
Yep.
What else is jumping out to me? Crucible of Worlds, fifth Dawn edition.
Mm.
How much is that card?
It's got to be up to $40 by now.
46. Like, yeah. These prices are absolutely absurd. And yeah, there you go.
It's in my my middle school deck with my Moxie Diamonds.
Word. Yeah, I have one in my EDH deck.
Here's a hint. Illusions and donate. Illusions donate.
Yep.
That's the deck.
That is indeed the deck. Anyway, I'm looking at all of these cards, and I cannot for the life of me see how these prices can hold. Like, to me, $45 for Teferi's puzzle box. I don't see how the heck that can stand.
Because now people are gonna go, oh shit, I do really need one. I need one now. Oh no, I need one. And then they're gonna say, well, I gotta get it at this price. Maybe it'll go up more. The problem is people buy things because of the feeling of missing out. So they don't want to miss out on getting something that they might need for the future. Like, I don't know if I'm going to need this, but I see it for $10. I'll just buy it just in case. And then it goes up to 20 and then 30. And it's like, oh, thank God I got it for 10. Even though if I don't need it, I still got it for cheaper than what it's worth. You know?
Yeah, I'm looking at all of these prices on MTG stocks. So, like, you know, for me to look at them and like quiz you is kind of unfair. But like, all of this just seems absurd to me. I don't understand how these prices can withhold. And like, I've looked on buy lists. Nobody is upping their buy list price on Teferi's puzzle box.
Well,
like,
I can tell why. Because the stores want to wait and see if it's real. Like, are people actually buying these for $35, or is that just TCG price?
Yeah.
And then if they are buying it for 35 and they're selling copies at 35, then they will increase their buy list to 20 something dollars, whatever. But until then, there's no reason to.
Yeah. I know there's a couple of, at my LGS, there's a couple of Ella Domrey's calls for 280 yen in the case, which are now like at least $5 a pop.
Because it's in Modern now, yeah.
Yeah, and there's also a Bridge from Below for another, I think, 280 yen. And now Bridge from Below is a $12 card again.
And that's because of the new deck with the new Dredge guy.
Yeah.
And apparently Dredge wasn't getting enough hate, and then this guy comes into play and does Altar of Dementia stuff. It's just one of those decks that right away people don't have enough hate for it, so it just goes and does its thing, and people are like, oh my god, this is too powerful, I gotta buy it. It's the same exact thing that happened with like Hollow One. You know, it's just like right away people are doing this and they're like, that's way too good, I have nothing against this. With the regular Dredge, I have nothing against this, it's too good. So, and then people adjust. So if people bring in strong graveyard hate, because people are running main deck Surgicals now in Modern, because it's just so ridiculous, the graveyard usage.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I've been looking into what kind of decks I want to start playing in Legacy, and I've been trying to watch how the meta is going to shake out. So maybe should we start talking about that next, or?
Yeah. So let's just do a basic. How's the Legacy meta looking right now?
Okay. So you and I were perusing the deck dump, the most recent June 10th MTGO standings deck dump and stuff like that. And we have the June 10th Legacy Challenge deck lists. And then we also have the
MTGO 5.0 competitive lists. The thing about the 5.0 lists are, say there's 50 decks that are, let's just say 50 ad nauseum storm decks. And then there's 20 decks that are kind of unique. They'll have one copy of the ad nauseum deck and then 20 of the unique decks. They just want many different deck lists. So it's not really, it doesn't show always how much everything wins or the percent things win. It just shows like, these are the lists that we saw that went 5.0 that we want to show you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean like, there could be a couple storm lists like that have one or two cards different in the sideboard, and they're not going to show all of them. They're only going to show like one of them just to show like, oh yeah, we had one regular storm deck, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of one thing to be careful of, because people will be like, oh my god, this deck went 5.0, it must be good. You know, maybe that guy got really good matchups. I went 3.0. I'm always going to bring this up. I went 3.0 at FNM with Enchantress. Like, any deck can win if it has good matchups.
This is true.
And again, opponents might misplay. They might have just had opponents who just made crazy misplays. My opponent, when I was playing Enchantress, didn't know she had Shroud, and so he tried to like kill her after she entered the battlefield, and he couldn't, and I was just like, yeah, you can't kill her. He's like, oh, I have no way to deal with her then. And then I'm just sitting there drawing cards, and he just got out overwhelmed.
Steamrolled.
Yeah, just like, but if he didn't make that misplay and he countered that Enchantress instead of waiting to kill it when it hit the battlefield, I probably would have lost. So, and then I wouldn't have gone 3-0. And that happens a lot with the 5.0 decks, especially if it's a weird deck that your opponent doesn't know how to sideboard against. You can get those oh, I don't know what they're doing wins. So, but I love looking at these decks because you can always learn something.
Well, what I basically try to like comb through them for is trends, just to see what people are playing generally and what things are winning. And the deck dump itself is kind of fun to kind of like peruse. I see a Miracles list with some of the new Teferi, baby Teferi. There's a whole bunch. There's another list here that is Sneak and Show, and then more stompy lists and whatnot. But the Legacy Challenge list, if we take a look at, first place was Julian with Elves. which is interesting because that's a very linear combo deck, which seems to know exactly what it wants to do, even in this crazy kooky new meta.
And the thing about elves recently is that because of the loss of Deathrite Shaman, elves does get weaker.
Sure.
Because Deathrite Shaman wasn't a card that hated on elves' strategies. It only helped elves. So it's not like losing Deathrite Shaman. Well, my opponent doesn't have access to it, so it helps me. That wasn't really a thing with elves. It only hurt elves more than helping it, pretty much.
Yeah, Deathrite Shaman kind of gave them some wonky kills of being able to like drain out the opponent to, in a single turn. You untap it a couple of times, you keep draining it, and eventually just kill your opponent. But yeah, this elves list is, I think it's referred to as like Chaos Elves or something like that. It doesn't have any. No, it does have 3 natural order, doesn't it? It has three natural
order, 4 Green Sun, and 4 Glimpse. 20 lands, and then 29 creatures. Keep in mind, 2 of those lands are Dryad Arbors, which are also creatures. But there's a lot of 1-ofs. There's 1 Scavenging Ooze, 1 Reclamation Mage, 1 Crater Hoof, and 1 interesting card is Archon of Valor's Reach, which is the a battle bond 5/6 Flying Vigilance Trample. When it comes into the battlefield, you name a card type, artifact, enchantment, instant, sorcery, or planeswalker, and players cannot cast spells of that type. So what you do is you cast it, you name instant, opponents can't play counters or brainstorms or anything, and then you just go nuts.
Yeah, it's really good against combo decks, storm decks, or control decks.
Sorceries.
Name instant against miracles or something. Yeah.
Name sorcery against miracles, something they can't terminus. Name instant, they can't swords.
Yeah. I would rather take away, like, I don't know. Well, I was thinking that their cantrips or their swords to plowshares, but yeah, I guess maybe their sorceries, like getting rid of the ponders, getting rid of the terminus.
It's hard to tell. Depends on the situation, but still, you can still tell though. It's a spicy 1-of that. When it's good, it's really good.
Yeah. Second place we have Maverick. Third place we have Death and Taxes. Fourth place we have Nick Fit. And a lot of these decks are somewhat, like not really running a whole lot of the new cards that we have been expecting to see.
Nick Fit is running 3 Yawgmoths. It's running one of the sack lands for the Horizon Canopy lands, and it's running a Cabal Therapist. So
Fit is running Yawgmoth.
Yep.
The creature, the new creature.
Other. Yeah, look into other. Underlands.
Oh. Okay, yeah. All right, and that's not. I see. Yawgmoth Thran Physician. I don't think I've actually
pulled in my pre-release for Modern Horizons.
I've heard that this card is kind of good, but I haven't even read it.
So he's 2/4 for 2 black, 2 colors, protection from humans. You can pay 1 life, sacrifice a creature, you draw a card, and you put a -1/-1 counter on a creature. And then you can pay 2 black mana to discard a card and proliferate, I believe.
Seems interesting. I guess being able to sacrifice your veteran explorers and get 2 lands and draw a card off of that seems kind of good.
Yep, and just put counters on things and kill stuff is pretty much the way to go. And then 2 black, discard something like Life from the Loam, get lands back, discard, proliferate, kill their guys. It's legit. And then the 5th place deck is looks like Grixis Control. It's running. It may be 4-color control actually. It's running Ren and 6, but it's not a Mox Diamond deck, which is insane to me.
It's running Ren and 6.
And 2 Force of Negation. 3 Force of Will, 2 Force of Negation. Which I can kind of understand, because Force of Will, you have to pay 5 mana if you want to hardcast it, but Force of Negation, it's still a 3 mana negate. So it's not completely dead all the time. I kind of like it.
My question is, Ren and 6. Force of Negation I can understand specifically because this deck can and does have difficult combo matchups sometimes. Sometimes your discard spells just do not get there, and then you're stuck with just random things like Colligan's Command or Abrupt Decays against Storm or something of the like. However, Ren and 6 is definitely an interesting addition to this deck, and it's the green threw me off, and I'm looking now at their land base, and I'm seeing 1 Bayou and 1 Trop.
But a ton of fetches. So you just
what is
fetch.
Ren? Yeah, what is Ren and 6 going to do for this list?
Well, you're pretty much always going to have a fetch land. You fetch your second land, you get Ren and 6, you plus it, and you immediately get that land back. So it's 2-mana Planeswalker where you can essentially just get a draw a turn or Crucible a turn, kind of.
So it pluses to get it to land back, and you just smooth out your mana base, I guess.
Yep. Or it can kill Snapcaster or Mother of Runes or Thalia or something else. Again, I don't think it's perfect, but it's interesting. So there are some of the new cards. There's a lands deck in 8th place that's running Red and 6. And if you notice in the sideboard, it's running 2 Force of Vigor. And Force of Vigor is the green one. So if your opponent has a Blood Moon or a Back to Basics or just something that's just really, really difficult for lands to deal with, then you can actually just get rid of them with the Force. You exile, I don't know, something you can't cast, like a Choke or Life in the Loam or whatever. Or an Exploration that doesn't matter, whatever. Like if there's a Rest in Peace and a Back to Basics in play, just like shoomp, take care of both of those. All right, now we can play again.
Yeah, it's got 3 Tireless Tracker. You've got Crows and Grip. Lots of green spells to pitch to it.
But so Modern Horizons does have some cards that are looking all right for Legacy. And in the 12th place list, it's a Miracles list: 2 Jays, 3 Narset, 1 Teferi, 4 of the basic land fetch, and then 2 Force of Negation. It also has 4 Force of Wills. It's running 0 Spell Pierce, which might be difficult. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe it loses to Fast Decks, but wait, it has 6 forces. So like, who knows? But
yeah,
there's some interesting things here. Oh, and Enchantress deck in 15th place, running 1 Hall of Heliod's Generosity.
Oh boy.
They're running the Living Wish build, actually. So they have 1 Hall in the board and 1 in the main. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
But
I've been really excited about some of these Delver lists though that I'm seeing here. I'm seeing a 9th place. I'm seeing just a straight up blue-red Delver list. And then if I move back to, let's see, 7th place, there's a Grixis Delver list. And I've been actually really considering Delver as being a strong player in the coming meta. And people who have been running Dreadhorde Arcanist in their lists. Dreadhorde Arcanist is a 2-mana 1/3 with Trample that says when it attacks, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost less than or equal to DA's power from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that card would be put into graveyard, then it is exiled.
So the Cliff Notes version is, if you have a 1 mana cost card in your graveyard, you attack, you can cast that for free when it attacks.
Yep. Yeah. And there seems to be 2 methodologies with which to run this card. The Grixis, of course, is nailing back discard spells like Inquisition of Kozilek or Thoughtseize. But with the blue-red Delver list, you are snapping back bolts and just cantrips.
Chain Lightnings.
Yeah, and these lists are running extra Chain Lightnings and, of course, the 4 bolt, which kind of has me interested because, to be quite honest, like the last time I was picking up Blue-Red Delver, I was running Light Up the Stage. And Light Up the Stage was definitely an interesting play, specifically because like the moment you got damage through, yeah, you were just getting more and more card advantage. This is card advantage on a stick. But I when I originally saw this card, I sort of kind of scoffed at it just because I thought a 1/3 didn't seem particularly good to be attacking with.
But when you're playing a tempo deck and making sure they don't have anything in play anyways, and it can keep your hand full and keep your hand full with answers. It keeps your opponent from being able to even get a board set up. Because what am I going to do? Set out a Stoneforge Mystic, and then you're just like, all right, attack, cast my Bolt from the graveyard, kill it.
Yeah. It's very interesting because the attack trigger basically allows you to get a sorcery as well. So you're literally casting a Ponder mid-combat. Or a Chain Lightning for that matter. I've been really high on this card lately. I definitely want to play with it coming up. All right, so we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're back. But we just wanted to try and exit things out a little bit because I'm getting incredibly tired right now, and I need to get into bed. So, Rob, it was nice talking with you today. And,
yes, good talks.
Absolutely.
All right.
And we'll have to catch everybody next week. So sayonara, Rob.
All right, sayonara, Mason.